I'm Bryan Sellers. Welcome to Paul Miller Racing. This is our foyer into the shop. Why don't you guys step this way with me and I'll give you a tour today. As we come into the shop, first thing we have is our offices on the left. This is our parts manager as well as our team manager's office department. So to the left here, you'll see Dean's office, who is our parts guy. All the ordering and shipping receiving happen through here, just your standard kind of office. This is Mitchell, our team manager's office. Basically, Mitchell and Paul's whole kind of premise on the shop is simplistic. And the reason is they don't ever want to spend any more money on anything other than the car. So when you look around, you'll notice the shop has everything it needs in terms of furniture and whatnot, but nothing is overdone until you get to the race department. And that's where all the heavy hitting stuff comes in. So if you walk down this way, say hi to Garrett, who is our crew chief. And if you come into this way, you'll see our parts department with Dean, our parts manager. Hello there. So this is where everything gets categorized, organized, and put into place. All the shipments come in here. You see we actually just got a fresh UPS shipment in. And you can see everything in our parts department from apparel, bags, supplies, paper towels, so on and so forth, and everything down to parts of the car. Brake rotors that are just come in, pads, Lamborghini, spare parts, and everything from car parts to old driver equipment, helmet blowers, cool suits, and so on and so forth. Because it's a little bit towards the end of the year now, thankfully the parts department is scaled back a little bit. We've started to run through everything, and this being the last iteration of this current Lamborghini GT3 car, there's no real reason to carry a lot of surplus in parts right now, as it just excess in cost. So if you come back this way, as we walk out of the parts department, we come into just a little office area for our guys to hang out, and we now start to get into the meat of the shop a little bit. If we look over to my right, we have our parts and data guy where he sits. Over here you'll see all our electronics. We can walk this direction a little bit. You can see all our electronics department. You can see all our dampers get done here. So Eric will rebuild in a clean area over here all our shocks after every race, dyno them, check them, make sure everything's okay. That takes place all the way over here. And then all of our wiring and everything happens just a little bit further over this direction. So you'll see right there, looks like some sort of wiring harness. It may be sensor harnesses or something that needed to be rebuilt from the last race. But these are all things that wear after time. They get chafed. They need to be redone. So if there's ever any problems, Eric comes back, takes care of that here. We'll go this way in a little bit, but if you get a quick glimpse of our race car over here. So now we'll walk you into another portion of the shop. As we get over into here, this is our Gearbox Department. So this our Gearbox guy, also our crew guy, his name is Josh. And this is where our gearboxes get taken care of. So we do a lot of in-house stuff, which is different than a lot of programs. All our gear sets, differential settings and everything, none of that can be changed, so it's just service items. But we're fortunate enough to be able to have somebody that can do that in-house, which saves us a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money in things like shipping. And so you can see all the different rigs set up, the different parts, cleaners, and everything that we need to make that happen. And those get done for us every single race. So Josh will come in, we'll pull the gearbox, tear them apart, check them. Most of the time it goes back together with the exact same parts because they're so durable, but it's just a precautionary thing that we have done for ourselves for the past 2 years now. So if we head this way, we go into a little bit of our, just a small part of what is our everyday kind of fab machine shop. So just standard stuff, drill press, lathe, drill bits and everything. This is out in the main shop area because it's stuff that gets used quite frequently and it's not kind of tucked away back in our other corner. One point in time we had a very extensive machine shop, but the use of it now with the GT3 cars has gone away. There's not a big need to fabricate parts anymore, so we kind of offloaded a lot of those things. So we have not as big of a fabrication center anymore as what we used to. It's easier now to just part it out to people and have people do things one-off if you need it done. But some of the stuff happens right here. So as we head this way, we go into our truck bay and our transportation area. So out here, we're fortunate enough, which is actually a pretty big deal, to be able to keep our truck and trailer indoors at all times. Now, we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, so the weather isn't too bad in these conditions, but it is nice because we don't have to take everything in and out of the truck every time it comes to the shop. The guys house a lot of parts and a lot of pieces still in the truck, so on a regular shop prep day, we don't have to go outside. If it's raining, you don't have to go out in bad conditions. You can just come out into this bay, work on the truck. Also, it gives you ability to service the truck in good conditions. People can come out here, do what needs to be done instead of working in off conditions. Luckily, it's a pull-through bay, which is nice. So we can just come in one end and out the other. We don't have to worry about getting the truck backed in every single time. And we still have enough room. The good thing is it's not very tight, so we have some area to be able to move around. In the off-season, our pit equipment will all get set up here and gone through, adjusted, and simulation pit stops will happen in here, and we'll be able to kind of recreate a pit lane in this area for off-season prep for next year. So we'll come back this direction, back through our door and into the main shop area. On the left, you'll see Richard back there in his department. Richard is our carbon guy, and one of his biggest pieces is repairing carbon at the end of the weekend. And so we're not allowed with GT3 cars to do any massive carbon work, but what we can do is repair small damages that happen to the floors, to the bumpers, and things like that, which ends up being very important. One of the things that happens over the course of a race weekend, especially at Road Atlanta, is the bottom of the car gets hurt pretty badly and beat up. But now with the GT3 cars, it's important to make sure the car is constantly flat. The bottom of the floor is flat. There's no lumps, no bumps and bruises in the bottom to get the most efficient aerodynamics. So as we come back into this area, this was where we used to have our more extensive fabrication shop in the little bit dirtier area. Welding happens here. You see we have brakes to bend and band saws, grinders, but the biggest thing is this is now where the actual carbon grinding takes place. It gets extremely dirty, messy, gritty, gets in your skin. So these are the things that you want to keep away from all the other people. So you're not breathing it, getting it all over you. So it happens outside, back over in that corner. It's all set up to kind of evacuate some of the air, some of the dirt, some of the dust, and keep that out of the shop. And finally, the last thing I'll show you is down to our actual car bay where all our guys end up working. So you see we have actually 2 lifts in the shop, but they get used very infrequently. There was a time where they got used a lot more, but now everything happens on the car prep right over here. So the car comes in, and as you can see, they're obviously finishing up Petite Le Mans prep right now, but this is where everything happens. So the guys will come in, unload the car, and it come right in here on dollies, and after every single race come completely apart and go back together. Set up and set down all happen right here.